What up, Grizz Nation, and welcome back to another Grizz 901, the live post-game edition, the postseason edition right here in the playoffs. Tonight, the Grizzlies do go down again in game two, a little 118-99 game. And again, the Thunder just kind of punked the Grizzlies. It was a lot that we'll get into as we get into, breaking down a little bit of the offense. I want to get into some of that tonight, as we will with Nate here very shortly. But we're going to talk about rebounding, how the Grizzlies got out rebounded again, out hustled on a completely throughout the entire night. The Grizzlies just did not play with enough effort and tenacity, as we've kind of seen now over the course of just the entire season. So this should not be a surprise to a regular Grizzlies fan. Just overall. But if you're a Thunder fan, in all honesty, like they're just a team that is much better than the Grizzlies. But we're going to talk about all of that and much more, as we always do. But listen, this isn't going to be a downer show. We're going to get into the nuts and bolts of this. We're going to break down exactly why the Grizzlies are losing, why they're playing the way they are. We're also going to try to see if we can talk you off a ledge just a little bit. We don't want to have you jump too quickly, but Nate's waiting. Let's get to the show. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. What's up, Nate?
I made it.
Yeah. Well, hey, thank you for making it. We appreciate that.
I do what I can.
All right, the Grizzlies go down 118-99. Nate, just kind of off the top rope, man. What did you see tonight?
Honestly, I didn't hate that game nearly as much as I'll be honest. We got out of Easter service right at halftime of the first game. I didn't turn the game on when I got home. By the time I got home, it was 40. And I was like, I'm going to enjoy a day with my family. So I didn't watch the first game. Yeah. I'll be honest, man. Tonight, I felt like they let go of the rope for a quarter, and then they grabbed back onto the rope the rest of the game. Like, I'll be honest, like that first quarter was miserable. Like, dude, how do these guys show up after game one and not care and just throw in the towel after like 2 minutes of game time? It felt like I was pissed in the first quarter because I was like, they're just let go of the rope. What are they doing? They're just giving up. It's still a game. After that, I thought the Thunder just popped off in the second quarter, but I didn't think the Grizz let go of the rope. I thought they were in there fighting the whole time. And then clearly the third quarter, it paid dividends. You get that game to within 6. And then we bench Ja Morant for a minute and a half, and they go up by 18 at the beginning of the fourth quarter. And that's that. But I didn't feel like they just let go of the rope. I didn't feel like they sucked the entire game. I thought the first quarter was really like that was where it all happened. And you never were able to get all the way back. But you made it a game at a certain point. You just weren't able to get all the way back after the first quarter. And I'll be honest, I'm one of those guys who this is torture in sports, by the way. But I do this quite literally for the show, and now it's become a habit. I can't help it. There's 8 easy points in that first quarter where instead of being down by 15 after 1, you're down by 7. And that changes the whole dynamic in what you're looking at. I mean, it's like 2 wide open threes by guys you would expect to make it. 3 easy buckets at the rim by Jaren and Ja that just didn't get made. I mean, it was like not stuff like, oh, if they just made that shot, like how did they not make those shots?
Right.
I didn't hate it. I thought the first quarter was crazy lame. I don't know how you come out that lame after what happened in game 1. The rest of the game, I thought they showed up. I thought Jaren completely turned it around second half, which is what you need. Dez, I thought, played hard the entire game, even though shots weren't falling the entire game. He had a few, but not all. I thought Ja looked super lame in the first quarter, but then turned it around after that. At the end of the day, I thought the other team's just so much better than you. It's ungodly. And like, here's the thing. Everybody's talking about, hey, they're getting out hustled. I mean, I'm not sure they are. I think the Thunder are just that much more athletic than you, that much faster than you, that much bigger than you. Like, there's one time that, like, who was it? Just got past Santi for a rebound. And I was like, I didn't think Santi was giving bad effort. I think Santi's just slow as hell. Like, I'm just like, dude, you have so many live bodies. It's sort of what we talked about in the Warriors playing game. It's like all of a sudden you throw live bodies at this team and they can't do anything because they don't have live bodies. They don't have athletes out there.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the reason that they got rebounded so much. Was it effort sometimes? Sure. But a lot of time, like, dude, you just got out athlete.
Yeah. No, listen, I agree with your sentiment that they are getting out athlete, right? And listen, I just want to shout out to everybody for being here and just the comments as always. I tried to roll through as Nate was kind of going through that and just put up as many comments as as I could that made sense to kind of what we're talking about. But thank you for hanging out with us. If you're watching this over on social media, thank you. But join us over at Bluff City Media on our YouTube page. You should see us live. If not, hit the live button and we'll pop right up for you. But we're Grizz 101. We're live after every game from now on. Okay, there's not going to be many left. I would assume 2, but we'll be here the last 2, and we'll see if anything happens after that in life. But these will be the last 2. But
what about Game 5, Daniel?
All right, listen, I will watch Game 5 of another series. It won't be this one, but I do. So I took some notes. I wrote some things down. I do want to get into a little bit of that because I see what I see, and it makes so much sense to me. And I don't get why it doesn't make sense to the coaching staff. Why it doesn't make sense to the players. Like, it just does not make sense to me. So let's get through a little bit of just breaking down some of the players, and then I want to get into some schemes because I put something up on Twitter about why, like, no idea why we don't have any like different schemes that we run on the defensive end, let alone the offensive end, but the defensive end. But I have a little bit of both. But the Grizzlies out rebounded 55-42. The turnovers were 15-7. You can see that 25 points as the Grizzlies to the Thunder, who only conceded 6 off of their 7 turnovers. And in all honesty, like, this Thunder team, they're good, but realistically, they're not great. What I see of them is they can be really good. I don't think what their scheme that they're running is anything special. I think SGA has been good. But in all honesty, everything shrinks when the playoffs hit. I think they're going to have a tough time in the next series. We'll see completely. But I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. And I don't want to completely just crap on OKC because they have been playing very well, and they haven't had to play really hard, in my opinion, just yet. But your opinion on the turnovers and the rebounding, like what is the reason of that? Because I don't understand why all of that has been where you get outplayed that much.
I mean, I'm so far in on team the roster blows. It's like, it's not even funny. So, like, for me, I can tie everything into, like, okay, you want him to be able to make passes with what space? Like, everybody gets mad at Jaren for getting the ball in the post, and I'm like, I'm texting with 3 different people tonight. And to be clear, I was like, what is wrong with Jaren at the beginning of this game? Sounds like it was awful. Looked like it was awful in the first game I didn't get to watch. But I'm turning around, I'm like, what's he supposed to do when they send 3 guys? Because they're like, okay, Scottie Pippen, take a 3. Like, and and Scottie Pippen, God bless him, he's been great all year, but dude, Scottie Pippen's not your guy that needs to be dribble driving against Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein. Like, nothing good's gonna come of that. So even if they do they overclose on him, he just dribbles into a bunch of nothing. So it's like,
that's the problem. There's no adjustments made, and I wanted to get into some of the players. So let's go ahead and hop in, okay? I wanted to go ahead and jump in. It doesn't make sense, okay? I was enjoying the very end of the game, the fourth quarter, with my lovely wife. We sat there and watched it, and she was asking some questions on what happened to Ja. And I tried to explain. I used the analogy of Ja's a Lamborghini, right? He's just, that's what he is. But unfortunately, this Grizzlies team has too many Lamborghinis that literally they have one thing that they can do. They look good and they can go fast. But guess what? When it rains, probably don't want to push the pedal too heavy, right? There's no guys on this team that can kind of get in the mud a little bit. That a guy that can do a little bit and be good no matter the situation. There's too many Lamborghinis on this team that have to have the perfect environment to be really good. And at that point, you're talking about Desmond Bane, who needs good players around him to get and create open space, right? But also you're talking about Jaren, who sometimes shows up, sometimes doesn't. He's never going to fight for the ball. He is too soft. But then you have Ja, who's the leader of your team. He quits when he gets bumped. Like, and if he doesn't get his pick, then he doesn't really create anything extra. And especially right now. And that's just the big three. The rest of the guys, honestly, take any of them, get rid of them, bring me new guys. I don't think anything's different. I think this team is very top heavy with the big three, and the rest of the guys, they're fine. They're in my opinion, as the kids say, they're mid. They're just not that good.
Yeah. And that's part of what I was arguing with the guy tonight on too. I'm sitting there and he's talking about how he thinks Jaren's soft, and I'm like, dude, I'm not going to throw out an entire season of Jaren being awesome just because he turns into a pumpkin down the stretch of the season. Then you turn it on late too. I'm like, listen, it's not that Jaren sucks. Maybe Jaren and Ja can't be great together. That is 100% in the cards. We've never seen it. But we can't tell because the roster around him is ass.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? You don't have anything to help maximize either one of them. Nothing. Okay, Luke Kennard, maximize Ja because he shoots. But, dude, you got to shoot. When he put Luke Kennard back in the game, I'm like, dog, what are we doing? Why are you putting him in and not putting John Conchar in?
And after DNP and, Luke Kennard, then all of a sudden, you know what? We're going to go to you and we're going to lean on you.
I'm just watching it. I'm like, and how do you not see what literally everybody else in the world is seeing? I mean, I make it a point. I don't look at box scores until the end of the fourth quarter. I try so hard to stay away from it unless ESPN or whoever's doesn't pop something up. And I sent out a tweet middle of the game. I go, I had no idea what it is, but Jitty's box score's got to be low-key good because of just watching the game, literally just watching the game. He had the second best plus-minus out of the entire team at that point outside of Dez. And instead, we throw Luke Kennard in there, who is going to get torched defensively and does not shoot anymore. You don't have to actually close out Luke Kennard. You just have to make him think you're closing out. And I'm like, okay, so nobody over closes out on Luke Kennard if you don't notice. They just run with a hand up, but then they're able to get in front of the drive too. So I'm just like, what are we doing with that? And again, none of this is changing the outcome of tonight's game. That team is an absolute machine. You're going to have to have a night where you everything's going well for you. You are hot from deep, you're rebounding well, you're taking care of the ball, and they're not doing what they do really well. They're not hot from deep, right? I think the Grizzlies, honestly, after watching the rest of that game after the fourth quarter, they could catch a game if things break really well for you. But that team is so much better than you. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's not like we're making good decisions what we have. Game's a 11-point game, 7-point game? What was it going into the fourth quarter? And you decide to sit Ja for a minute and a half so that they can break it back open to 20? Come on, man. I know everybody's sitting there saying, last time I said, I like to coach. I'm I like coaching interviews. Yeah.
Well, I do believe we have two guys that are doing the interviews for us, so I appreciate them. King Meeks and Kip Gordon are going to be doing the interviews. So if you have somebody, go ahead and send them their way because they are starting the interviews for the Grizzlies head coach. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, and literally just about anybody other than who's doing the head coach interview doing it at this point. Because I'm dead serious. I'm like, one, your coaching isn't good enough and hasn't been good enough to get the max out of your players. Clearly, it's not been good enough. But two, the roster's gotten in a place where you can't even accurately assess what you have. That's how bad you sold on this roster over the past 3 years. You literally can't even assess, okay, is this team any good or not? Are our best three good enough? Because, what do you have around them? Scottie Pippen and Zach Edey are starting for you against the number one seed in the playoffs. And if Pippen wasn't starting, it'd be because you're starting another rookie second-round pick. And again, this is not to hate on those dudes. I think they've given you everything they could possibly give you and you could expect from them in their first year in the league. But, I mean, how the hell are we starting Scottie Pippen and Zach Edey? And that's only because we can't start a second rookie. That was the 39th pick. Like, it's ridiculous. So, listen, I guess he's the only guy there that could do it, but the fact that Zach Kleiman gets to decide who the next coach is terrifies me because they need an entire freaking reset. Like, clearly what you want, and you want this guy, is not working. Did you hear? I didn't actually hear this clip, but I was told that Windhorst went on Part of My Take earlier this week and was talking about playoffs, his little like algorithm he has to determine who's going to win stuff, yada, yada, yada. Part of what they asked him about was the Grizzlies, because a bunch of Barstool guys actually like the Grizzlies quite a bit, the interview job back in the day. But they're like, hey, what happened? Like, why did the Grizzlies fire their coach? And Windhorst said that Kleiman is so terrified of another team hiring T.I. out from under him that he wanted to get rid of Taylor to promote him so nobody else could get him. And they'd have like sort of first
100%. 100%.
So that's scary as a Grizzlies fan watching this unfold. Because it's like, okay, not only have you just effed the roster into absolute oblivion, but now your eyes are the only one who are going to be on the coach. And I don't think your eyes have done a good job building the team to this point. So I'm like, and it's hard to say, like, maybe this is like the maximum you could get out of this roster. I have my doubts. Yeah. But at that point, it's like, we can't even know. We can't even know because it's say the roster's in. Guy texted me tonight. This team goes, Asante goes. And I'm like, that text in and of itself should be the basis for firing Zach Kleiman. Like, if your team goes, Asante goes. And I've not been a huge fire Kleiman guy. I still think like he gets another year to try and figure it out. But brother, I don't understand how you look at this and you're satisfied as a Grizzlies fan with where it is. Yeah. I mean, this OKC team has lapped you, as have multiple teams. The Pacers have lapped you. The Cavs have lapped you. And it's not like your core sucks.
Right. And in the NBA, like in general, like it's hard to beat a team that much, like especially in a series. Like, they've controlled this team. It's not like the Grizzlies aren't good, right? Or are they not? Because it's hard because OKC isn't going to do what they're doing, but also the Clippers or the Warriors wouldn't do. I think that all those teams right now, as the Grizzlies are playing, I think would all beat the Grizzlies by a good amount each game at the moment. And that just goes to show that I just think this Grizzlies team is flawed so much. And I know we've talked about it just in general about Kleiman and how he's built the team, but I just don't see what changes that they can make because he's never been able to bring in somebody. He had to attach a first-round pick, to which you already spent first-round picks, on Marcus Smart just to get him off the team, just so you can make a potential move in a bigger bag for Jaren in the offseason. That doesn't make sense. But let's talk about the offense real quick, because I looked at the offense and it did not make sense. And I just want to ask your opinion on it. And then I want to get to the defense. But the offense, okay? If you look at the OKC offense, and what they're doing is very simple. They're running I don't know if you want to call it a cycle offense, if you want to call it action offense, a movement offense, whatever. It's got different actions within the offense. So it's a flowing offense, right? Very similar to how the Grizzlies kind of did theirs. But the Grizzlies had a lot of, try to beat your guy off a dribble. It's very simple. What OKC does is they literally they'll pull up their big to them and run a pick and roll. They'll dump it to the big, run off of the big. They'll use the big to do a back screen that brings a guy back to the ball, or they'll go ahead and do all that and eventually back pick and bring somebody else back to the ball. It's just very simple offense. It's very, intrinsic. Like, it does make sense. Like, while they're doing it, there's a lot of moving parts, but realistically, once you understand it, it makes sense and it's very easy. The Grizzlies on the other end, what they're doing is literally 5 guys standing outside of the three-point line, and including Zach Edey, and they're expecting this offense to work just because they are good at dribbling and can get by somebody. It doesn't make sense that this guy, who is the coach that everybody wanted, it is what it is, he is not good, and he does not. You can make these changes already. He's had 9 games plus these 2 games now. it doesn't make sense why he hasn't made any adjustments to this team. I don't get why we're still seeing the same offense. It's just stupid.
Well, it's yes. Again, I don't disagree with you. I just look around the team and I'm like, I don't care what adjustments you make. You ain't got the horses. Right? You just don't. But you're not wrong. By no means are you wrong. And I don't think he's the guy. I just think like until you get a better team around, I don't really care who's coaching the team.
Yeah.
To be completely honest with you. So yes, I absolutely agree with you. There we go.
I'm always right. So I agree. All right. We got to do it. We do have a super chat. Keith is the best. I love Keith. Is always bringing some interesting conversations to the chat, but an OG, no doubt. He's asking a question to you, Nate, directly. Do you think there's something to the pattern of stars like Jimmy Butler and Iggy, who said, I don't want to go to Memphis? Can we not attract stars?
Maybe, but let's get real careful when we call Andre Iguodala a star. That's a guy who played with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson in their prime. I saw him in Philadelphia. He was good, but
well, hey, let's change the
Finals
star.
MVP Andre Iguodala.
Let's change the star word to veterans.
No, I don't think there's anything with veterans. I think Jimmy Butler's thing was much more about money. Maybe he didn't want to come to Memphis specifically. There's certainly a chance that is true. But I think Jimmy Butler was going to say about anywhere he was going to not get paid. Like and that's kind of played itself out forever since Jimmy Butler's been in the league. Which, by the way, like I hate that Adam Silver's NBA, where that's a thing that's just crazy common. But if you can do it, I don't really blame Jimmy Butler for doing it. Like who wouldn't say, "Oh, I'm only going to go somewhere where I get paid exactly what I want to get paid." But I think it's just a lot more of. I wonder sometimes if everything kind of looking like it was falling apart a couple years ago could affect that going forward. But for the most part, I think it's just part of not getting the job done. You kind of got skimpy with a pick, and Brooklyn ended up landing DFS, who was not pushing you over the top again in the West, by the way. But it'd be a lot more like you could compete against some of these teams. You weren't able to get the Bridges trade done. There's so many trades you weren't able to get done. That's a problem. Now, we were actually messaging today. There's actually quite a few free agents that would be not sexy names, but sort of helpful. And that's why I think, hey, like if you can't make trades to make this happen and you can't get any free agents, like somebody else has got to come in and take over. So I think maybe there's something to it as far as the players not wanting to come here. I don't think that's the case. So I think it's a lot more of just not being able to get the job done, to be completely honest with you.
Okay. So one, thank you, Keith, for doing that. He said he ran out of characters and he had so many to put on there.
Fair.
All right. So with that being said, like it doesn't make sense why there hasn't been a lot of people that you would think around Ja Morant, right? But also I think people like Desmond Bane. I think people like Jaren Jackson Jr. Why haven't we seen a vet that wants to win, a la Jay Crowder, who ended up getting shipped out, a guy that says, I want to go there. I'm willing to take not even the vet minimum, but I'm willing to take a decent salary. I'm not trying to go get the bag to go to Memphis, right? Like Chandler Parson. Like he got a bag. He was coming there, right? I'm talking about somebody who says, I want to come there, very much like Derrick Rose, right? And I know that, and Keith's saying it doesn't count because he does have ties to the city. Very much on that same level of Derrick Rose. Somebody that says, hey, I want to come there. I want to help this team win. Because you see that so much with other teams. That has not happened in Memphis. Unless I'm completely wrong, and the chat just corrects me. I have not seen somebody say, I want to go to Memphis and help them win.
Well, there's also a potential of you aren't trying to make those moves because you're too obsessed with your shiny toys.
Okay.
Like it's no secret that you were trying to get money to be able to pay Santi this offseason. And and that's not like Santi's a bad player, But if you're giving up a bag to Santi Aldama, like you and Nico Harrison can share the bus out of town. Like that's just not what needs to happen. Like same thing earlier. Like this team cannot go as Santi Aldama goes.
No.
And that's the problem. I'm not positive there's been an effort to make that happen. Like they admittedly doubled and tripled down on youth. And then this year, it feels like they're almost trying to play it safe. Like, okay, we're just going to hold on to what we have because we don't want to make a big move because a big move puts us out on a limb. Hey, the limb is, one, your window closes before you ever thought it was open. Two, your people who you are trying to build around get pissed at you just twiddling your thumbs.
Yeah.
It feels like they've just been like playing way too safe. And also, like, just don't make the simple moves. Hey, we're going to go get Mikal Bridges is going to push us over the top. We're going to get OG is going to push us over the top. We're going to try and get KD. We're going to try and get Jimmy Butler. It's like, hey, like, I think a guy like Bobby Portis would be helpful to this team. I think a guy like John Collins would be helpful to this team. Bruce Brown is one of those guys that's going to be a free agent this year. I think Bruce Brown's the sexiest name in the world. A lot of people don't think about Bruce Brown since he left the Nuggets and he got hurt. But do you think he'd be helpful in this series? I do. Yeah. It's little things like that, and it's been that for years. Right? And so those are the moves you need to make. And it just feels like they've been trying to go big swing, big swing, big swing. And now you've put yourself desperately behind the 8 ball. And I don't know the cap situation, but it feels like you've got yourself in a point where you have failed to augment around this unless you just had like the development of all development off seasons with these guys, which, hey, why not quadruple down on youth? What could go wrong? But you've almost put yourself in a position where it's like, hey, your big three has to be looked at. Not even because you don't trust them to play well together, but because what else are you going to do to make those moves?
Yeah.
Like everybody's sitting there like, hey, if you want to keep the core three together, I don't know if you can make these moves. Or if there's any moves to be made. I'm like, well, you might not be able to keep the core three together then. All of which are great players who would be amazing if you had augmented the roster correctly. But, you know, it's one of those things where you can love Vince Williams, and we were all in on Vince Williams last year. You can love G.G. Jackson. I think we all still believe in G.G. Jackson. You can love Jalen Wells. Jalen Wells has been awesome this year. But it's like, bro, at a certain point, like you've got to commit to we're trying to win right now, and you don't win with youth. It just doesn't happen.
Well, what you do there is it's okay to have youth, right? But what you have to end up doing is going out and getting a vet on a prove-it deal, a guy that, listen, the money dried up around the league, and you say, listen, I know that everybody's willing to offer you 9-10 million. We'll give you the full vet minimum to come here, the 12.5, whatever it might be. We'll give you that to come here, or the mid-level accession, whatever it is, to come here and play for us on a 1-year prove-it deal. You know what happens then is you're able to have that player that is good for that 1 year, and then you continue to grow and develop these young guys and give them 1 extra year. You know what? If they're not ready, you still have that vet for that season. And guess what? You try to do the exact same thing next year. Even if you feel like they're ready or not ready, you still do the same exact thing again. Like you can still make these young players try to break into the lineup. Like they don't need to be giving a spot. I know it'd be great, but realistically, you should not have had Zach Edey or Jalen Wells have to play in the starting lineup this year. You could have went out and found somebody to be good enough until they were really ready, whether it was during the season or past the season. But either way, I just think that they don't make enough 1-year deals, and I think that could be very helpful. But if you're watching us, thank you for hanging out with us as always. We're about halfway through the show, and we'll continue to break down it. But this is the Grizz 901 Live Postgame Show, part of Bluff City Media. I'm Daniel, and that's Nate. And the reason I wanted to take a stoppage, Nate, is because we have somebody very special doing something important. I always like to celebrate the good things. So do me a favor, chat. Show Lauren some love. She's getting her master's in 2 weeks, and she's over here worried about this stupid team that I love so much. So yes, give Lauren some love. Show her honestly like what with the chat, what the community of Grizz 901 really is. But one, don't worry about this team. I already know. I have the spoiler alert. I can tell you on the side if you really want to know what's going to happen the rest of the week. But yeah, go get your masters. Don't worry about this stupid team. But for sure, congrats and good luck. So yeah, show some love to Lauren. Yes, it is very good. But
congrats.
Another hard pivot. Let's go to the defense real quick.
Oh Lord, you're the scheme guy. Have fun.
All right. So my question is, yes, it was King Meeks' birthday yesterday. It was yesterday or Monday. Happy birthday, King Meeks. We did not have a show. So anyway, yes, happy birthday, King Meeks, a true OG.
Another year on the sun.
Yeah. The defense. I don't understand why we haven't tried something, just something, anything. And I'm just curious, what your thoughts, why we haven't at least traded something, just not traded, but tried something different just to give them a different look here and there.
I thought they kind of did. I thought it was like, hey, we can only rotate so much. They're clearly not locked in on a string. Let's just get that out of the way. Like, it's not like they're sitting there rotating and they know each other like the back of their own hands. It's not what we're working with. At the same time, I thought they did a better job of trying to center on the guys that want to center on tonight. They got lost a couple of times because the Grizzlies are not in sync. But it was like, hey, we're going to live with like a Caruso wing 3 or something like that, and then he'd knock it down. Now, and part of it is shout out to the Thunder, dude. Like,
yeah.
Dude, that team's a machine. Like, they just make every big shot. It just feels like they're just making these shots. Now, I'm still curious to see what's going to happen. Like, I like the Clippers to come out of the West because I'm just like, I feel like the Clippers are that old team that will just beat the crap out of you and be able to make the Thunder uncomfortable. But if the Thunder show up to that and they answer that call, bro, like, I'm sorry. Like, I would have them winning the title. It's just crazy how good they are. So that's part of it. Like, there's only so much you can do, and I didn't think defense crushed you in the first quarter. Thought your defense was okay. It was like your inability to score and looking like you came in on cruise control.
Correct.
So I put them on that. The main problem, Daniel, is that your perimeter stopper is Scottie Pippen Jr.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's like I sound like a broken record, but it's the honest to God answer. Like, you're guarding SGA with Scottie Pippen, who has done a really admirable job. Clearly, SGA has not made shots you'd expect him to make, but part of that's because Pippen's been making it uncomfortable. So, I look at it and I'm like, Jalen Wells was going to be your go-to guy, and it's a rookie second-round pick. You just, like, part of it is you're not on a string, you're not in sync. Part of that is you fired your coach with 9 games left in the season, which I don't think any of us think was a crazy thing to do given the way things were going, but it is what it is. The other part of it is, like, you don't have players that you can trust. Like, Zach Edey should not be as torched in drop coverage as he is, but you don't have anyone who can navigate a screen.
Right.
You don't have long wings that can help. So, scheme-wise, you can say you want to try something different, but I'm like, this Thunder team is just so much better than them. It's like, okay, I don't really know what you can do. At the end of the day, they keep getting good looks, and if they keep knocking them down, it is what it is. But 2, I don't think is too much you can do defensively. I don't know what you could change. Do you have something you think you would change drastically?
Yeah. So personally, what I would do, and we have a lot, 2 super chats just came in. We're going to get to those here in a second. But in my opinion, I would try to see if I can make them make an extra pass. So the problem with all of this is you have Zach Edey. Okay. But how can you use him differently? And I'm not saying the entire game. I'm talking about making a change and run it 3 to 4 possessions just to see if you can get some quick and easy burst, right? If you get a couple of different missed shots, you get maybe a couple of turnovers, create a little momentum, and then fall back to kind of what you were doing. And then just every now and then throw it at them. In my opinion, what I would do is you do a hard hedge with Zach Edey and whoever's guarding him. The reason is because they're not used to it. So at that point, you have this big ogre on you, and so they're going to have to pass out of it. And you know what? You might get burned. You just might. But in all honesty, I don't think anything would be different than getting burned and what you're already happening on defense. And so because of that, I say go ahead and hedge and see if you can possibly just leave them butt naked open. Like leave a
Ludor.
Caruso, yeah, a Ludor butt naked open and say, hey, we're not even going to run at you. You make the decision. Are you going to shoot with nobody coming at you? Are you? And if you bury us, you bury us. I think you just make them get the ball out of SGA's hand, and then everybody else stay hard on their guy, and then adjust if you need to.
Pause.
You just do it a few times.
Got him.
I don't even know what I said, but yes.
Okay.
Anyway,
I don't want the kids to be able to clip me.
That's what I would say is go ahead and hedge hard with Zach Edey or anybody else that's big and get all up on them. All right, let's get to a couple of these real quick. We had this come in from Titan MVP and another OG here. Always get a little super chat, but he's saying, "Hey fellas, nothing more to say. We were just overmatched," which we completely agree. But talking more about the team. They've had way too many first-round picks and have built a dynasty if they keep it together. Talking about the Thunder. On the Grizzlies side of this, one, because I know we all agree about the OKC Thunder. Why do you think the difference is, if you had to say one thing, what's the one difference in the last 2 years when the Grizzlies seem to be ahead of the OKC Thunder? Because they both had first round picks. They've hit, the Grizzlies have hit on plenty of guys that are young, that are good players, but it seems like OKC, as we see right now, is just taking a huge leap. What's the difference?
Augmenting. Like that's it. I did go with one word. That's a pretty good word, wasn't it? That's a five-star word. They'd augmented better. Like you've hit on your draft picks. Like you took Trey Murphy instead of Zaire Williams. Like that's a huge difference for this Grizzlies team if they have Trey Murphy instead of Zaire Williams, right? The Thunder have made those, they've hit on those. And so that's a huge difference. And then also you've done a good job of who you go to bring around them. Right? Like you go and you get Alex Caruso. You go and you get Hartenstein. Like you've done a good job of building the roster around your best player and augmented really well with that. And so I think it's as simple as that.
Well, also, I think the difference is, and I'm not saying Caruso is awesome, and I'm not saying Hartenstein's awesome, but what they decided to do is, just like I said, they had some guys that were up and coming and would be really good, and they decided, you know what? Let's go ahead and put in these vets with them, just in case. Chet was coming off an injury, and he was playing, and then he got injured again, right? And then he came back. And Hartenstein started the season injured. Like there's issue, but realistically, they had these guys that could be there if all hell broke loose. You still had these vets, and I think that's what it comes down to: is you had some guys to help them along the way, these young guys, and that's what the Grizzlies did not do. The Grizzlies went all in and tripled down on youth, even though they said they weren't going to double down on youth, even though they did. So anyway, it's dumb. Pisses me off. All right, Lightning DJ, another OG here. As well. He said he just finished crashing out on his YouTube stream with the crew. Just need to get the off season and evaluate everything in the organization. Lightning DJ, we do agree, but also throw in your YouTube channel into the chat. That way everybody can go do him a favor. Go over there, check it out. At least give it one watch, but subscribe, show some love, hit the like button, and hit the like button here if you don't mind. But yes. Thank you to everybody, Lightning DJ, for hanging out with us as always, our OGs. But I don't want to get into the off season now because I feel like that's sacrilegious at this point. But we're not going to have a ton of games, a ton of shows left. But
get to it,
we'll be there eventually. I don't want to do that tonight on this show at all. But I'm just curious what happens going forward.
I do want to say one thing on that. Like I've seen like this franchise is destroyed. This franchise is the joke of the NBA. I'm like, hey, easy. Like we've had 40-ish minutes to crash out, and actually about 45 because we took a minute to start the show. The Hornets exist, and so do the Wizards, and so do the Jazz. The Grizzlies aren't an absolute joke of a franchise. That's what's so frustrating. You've got a lot of good stuff to work with. Like you really do. Like Ja is obviously superstar. Jaren, all-star this year. Would have been all NBA if he didn't get hurt and got completely derailed. Desmond Bane has come back to life over the last stretch of the season. Brandon Clark, really good for you. Santi, good for you. Jalen Wells, good for you. Edie shown a ton of improvement and promise as a rookie. The frustrating part is you have a good core around you. You're not a joke of a team. It's like, why can't you build out around it to make it work? Now, some uncomfortable conversations are going to have to be had about how you get this back to a good spot, for sure. Like, same thing, like your big three have to be looked at. And it might be really tough to be able to build this team out with all three of those guys still here, but you've still got plenty to work with. It's just a matter of like, can you get the job done? Because about 3 years running now of the answer being no.
Yeah.
Well, but they're not joking. They're not down and out.
All right. So riddle me this, Batman. So you have the big three, right? And you do have money that Santi could potentially get paid or that you would offer Santi in the offseason, correct? So you have probably, let's say there's 12 or so million there. You obviously have the 12 or so million that Luke's coming off of. You do have Brandon Clark that will not be returning this next season. If he does, it'll be mid to end the year, I would assume, just because of his injury. I think it's going to take him a while to come back from that. And he could potentially miss the entire season. With just those three guys, just in general, I think you have enough to bring in two guys that are vet guys that aren't going to move the needle like just drastically. But I think you have enough money there to bring back two people. Let's just say this, and we'll use this for a complete example. If you were to bring in a guy like Alex Caruso and a guy like Isaiah Hartenstein in the offseason, not saying that you can, right? But because that's what the Thunder did. If you have that to bring in, do you feel better about next season as everything else is currently constructed with this team? If you were able to do that, what is your thoughts on the thinking of next year?
I mean, yeah, I feel a ton better about it.
That's the difference.
Yeah, I feel a ton better about
it. I think that's very simple. And I'm not saying Alex Caruso is that good. I think he's fine. I think he's a role player, right? And I think Hartenstein would be really good. Okay. But you're talking about veteran guys that know what their role is, that kind of fit into the team. And at that point, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for two guys that kind of fit their role, fit this team, and can kind of move forward. And that's where you're at. So at that point, I think it's very simple, but I do think that they need to make some small changes that actually is good for this team.
Yeah, and that's the whole frustrating part. You don't need anything crazy. You just need the small little changes with guys who can excel in a role. That's it. Like, you need defenders, which is why you'd love Caruso. Like, Caruso would be so good because now you have a perimeter defender to go put on someone like SGA, right? And he's not going to be a knockdown 3-point shooter, but he'll make enough that you got to respect it and you can throw it out to him, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. Something like Hartenstein that can anchor it for you and is mobile enough to be able to keep up with everything else and a threat enough in the paint. It's not like either one of those guys is knock it out of the park players, but they're great at what you need them to be great at.
Yeah.
That's all you need. So if you could get those two guys and then one guy who can really be a scoring threat for you off the bench, that would make all the difference in the world for this team.
Correct. Yeah. And you have to come off of somebody, right? Which is fine.
Instead, you got Luke Kennard.
Instead, you got Luke Kennard. Real quick, this is from Lightning DJ. This is the show, The High Ground Unscripted. Go ahead, check it out. High Ground Unscripted. You can go ahead and copy that if you'd like, or you can just go put it in the old Google machine and it'll pop it out for you. All right, before we move on too far, we got another super chat. What?
Nothing. I respect some of the crash outs. I don't want to go too much into it. We could talk about it, but I respect a lot of the crash outs I'm seeing.
I love people that crash out. I'm going to try to keep you off of that ledge, but DJ Lagway, which one? DJ, I think, is new to this year in Grizz 101, just kind of being a part of us and a part of the crew that it is. But he's talking about Ja, and we have not spoke on Ja a lot tonight. The only thing I want Ja to do this summer is to change that jumper. It's the only way we're going to win with him driving is not working anymore. Your thoughts on Ja?
Ja's been shooting 41% from three since the beginning of the month.
But that was when he threw the grenades. He hasn't been doing that lately.
No, just saying, like he's been shooting 41% from three. Like Josh shooting fine. He needs to probably be a little bit more consistent in the mid range and like get comfortable getting to a spot. Yeah. Sorry, I always take that as you need to be able to shoot the three ball. I think Ja is fine. He just needs to be more comfortable getting to his spot because we've seen him nail that shot. I mean, after he hurt his ankle, first thing he did was come down and knock a mid range shot down against the Warriors. Right, so it's not like he can't hit it. It feels like he doesn't know quite what he wants to get to though. And he has to get more comfortable actually getting to that spot and be like, okay, I'm getting to the elbow. I'm knocking down this shot, or I'm getting to the free throw line. I'm knocking down this shot. And he's kind of caught in between still. But as far as that goes, 100% on board. I don't want people to get mixed up. Like he's shot a ton better and he's played a lot more loose since the beginning of April. And I think that has shown because he's shooting a ton better from deep and stuff as well. So he's got it, but he's got to get more comfortable getting to it.
I agree. And I think that as DRB318 says, Ja isn't the problem. I agree with that as well.
I don't think DJ saying that he's the problem though.
No. Yes. I know he's not the problem. How this team is going to reach their ceiling or reach, whatever their end goal is, it's all about, in my opinion, I think it's all about Ja Morant. If this team is built around him, which it should be,
yes,
the team is built around him. And if he gets hurt, your season's done. It is what it is. That's how most teams are built. If SGA goes out, the Thunder are not going to be as good. They're going to be fun and they're going to be scrappy, but they're not championship level team without SGA. Okay. So let's back it up. I think that what we've done with the Grizzlies and Kleiman and the front office has decided we need to make sure we're good even without Ja. I don't know. I do not want to ever worry about if Ja's not there. If Ja's not there, so be it. Okay. We're just kind of the season's donezo. But I would like to see him hit his midi get a little bit better, just overall, just like DJ said.
Also, it'd be helpful if Ja didn't have to fling himself at the rim because there's no other good options for the offense. Correct. That would also be helpful.
So, and that's my opinion.
Anything back to roster construction.
Yes. And that's kind of what I'm saying. And yes, for your styles, I get the Grizzlies are still young, but in my opinion, the problem is it just seems like there's no direction. I think if you just like we use that discussion, I guess if you put some vets around them, I think they play a lot better. In my opinion, I think that they can find their spots a lot easier. You have a vet that says, "Hey, no, don't do that. Don't come so far over to me. Create your space." Like you can do that on the court. Like I've seen that so much with vets. I think that's what this team needs. But in my opinion, this offseason, this needs to be the offseason of Ja. And I do not mean on the court, kind of off the court. I think in the front office. I think Ja needs to get with Robert Pera, Zach Kleiman, Tayshaun Prince, Jesus himself. I don't care whoever is helping run the Grizzlies organization. They need to bring him in and say, what do you want? What should we do? Is there a thought process? What do you have this? What's your vision of this looking like? And it should not just be a hand down job to T.I., Coach T.I. There's no reason that should happen. Ja needs to be the person with the biggest voice in the room. And I think if they do that, I think it'd be a good decision, in my opinion, just overall. And I think Ja would take a coach that was pretty hard on him, in my opinion. But I think he wouldn't be scared to go after somebody that would be a little rough around the edges because that's kind of how his dad is a little bit.
Totally agree. I don't think that'd be a problem at all. I agree with him needing to have a huge voice in all of those discussions. 1,000%. Couldn't agree more. And that's one thing. I'm glad you bring this comment up because I know a ton of people are frustrated saying like, Ja's not a leader. Ja's quitting on his team. Brother, if you were Ja Morant and you were conceivably, I mean, you could conceive if Ja stayed healthy in that Warrior series, you beat the eventual champions in that series you're playing against them. Now, that's a huge what if. I'm not saying it's for sure going to happen, but it's conceivable that that changes that series for you. And since then, you did a lot of it to yourself, right? You got yourself into trouble. You put yourself in a bad spot, put the organization in a bad spot for that matter. Now, is Adam Silver still like in a complete D-bag? It's the only person he's ever been hard on? Sure. Yeah, it's ridiculous, but it's beside the point. Since then, you've gotten younger and younger and younger. And Ja at the beginning of the year wasn't just being passive because he didn't care. Ja was trying to get these guys ready. We talked about this beginning of the season. He's like, okay, these guys have to be ready. Zach has to be ready. Jalen Wells has to be ready. Eventually, like Vince has to be ready. And you got to all this point in the season, who wouldn't be frustrated? Like I talk about it, I'm like, Vince is never in the right spot. And Josh tired of trying to tell him to get to the right spot. And so exactly what you're saying, imagine if instead of that, you had someone like obviously not at this current stage of his career, but a Jay Crowder who Ja trusts to do what needs to be done. And he's giving him the ball. And Ja doesn't have to constantly coach. Ja can just go be Ja Morant, take over what needs to take over, but trust everybody else to do their job. Yeah. So like when everybody says Ja's a terrible leader, I'm like, dude, he's been trying to get this team ready since the beginning of the season. And who wouldn't be beyond frustrated with what you're having to do at this point? So I just don't buy that because we've seen him lead this in the past.
Yeah.
You know, so and I'm totally on with Keith there. Like he's constantly having to coach on the floor, middle of games, which shouldn't have to happen with the team trying to compete.
Yeah. And as DJ saying here, another super chat. Listen, I love the super chats. Thank you all so much. It does help the show grow, but it also helps us find, and put your comments to the top always. But imagine Ja with that Thunder roster.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Would Ja be MVP potential? At least potential, right?
I don't know if you noticed, SGA has not been that great, and they have destroyed the Grizzlies for 2 straight games. SGA has not been anywhere near amazing. That like this series has already proven me Jokic should win the MVP again. Because I've seen that Denver team play.
God,
let me tell you what happens when Jokic goes off the court. Not what happens when SGA has gone off the court so far this year or this series. But
where's the offensive rebound? 16-9. God,
those dudes are freaks, dude. Again, that's like they like send out Aaron Wiggins, and they bring on Aaron Wiggins Jr. Just
but the thing is, but that doesn't take talent, though. That's not talent.
No, but it is athleticism and length.
It's athleticism, but it's just like, hey, moving.
Sure, but I don't like they bring on wing defender after wing defender after wing defender after wing defender, and then they bring on Alex Caruso. And it's like, dude, we don't got nobody on the team that can do that. Other than we thought Vince. Maybe Vince will figure it out again because we saw it from him last year. But I mean, I'm pretty depressed about that at the moment. And Jalen Wells will get there. I do believe in Jalen Wells, but it's just like, hey, if you had Jalen Wells, but also a little bit longer, a little bit taller, shoots a little bit more consistent from 3, and also more of a grown man body, that's like every single wing player they have. It's crazy. It's crazy, dude.
Yeah,
they're good, man. They just hit on all of those wings. They crushed it.
Yeah, 3-and-D wings. The thing is, like, none of them are like crazy great, except for Jalen Williams. There's none that are like crazy great on the offensive end, but they just are athletic and they can kind of move, and they have effort to get to the ball. And a lot of it is just going to be the movement that they create. So yes, I think that their team is good, but if you have a good team, I'm curious how this team stacks up against others as they keep going. But yes, it does allow and it makes your team better. Real quick, I don't want to get too far away with this because Button DJ put in another super chat, but he just wants to give everybody a little heads up. 1, he goes by antifreeze on there, which is cool. I like that. But 2, it's not for kids. Okay, so if you have kids, if you go watch this stuff, probably not going to be filtered, a little unfiltered content. So So pause on that one for sure. Just ease into it a little bit. But yes, I love to support everybody. So if we can support Black Name DJ, we want to do our best. So yeah, go check it out when you can. But I don't want to spend too much more time on this. The Grizzlies ended up losing 118-99. So let's kind of start wrapping this bad boy up. So anything else that you want to hit on before we get out of here?
Again, I know like it's like so frustrating watching the gap between you and OKC, especially because you were ahead of that team. And so that makes it 10 times more frustrating. Do not give up on this team as a whole. Again, I thought the way they played quarters 2 through 4 tonight, they could, if things go well, admittedly, steal a game. When they're back home in Memphis, we could be back here for a game 5. I mean, if things go like we all pray enough, we maybe even have a game 6 back in Memphis. But like super duper pray, like Easter level. He is risen indeed type of prayer. But as a whole, man, like this team, like we've been through some dark years as a Grizzlies franchise, and I think this is the darkest it has gotten. Like last year, you kind of threw it out the window. It's like this blows, but like it's like every voodoo doll in New Orleans was a Grizzlies voodoo doll, is what it felt like. This year is like, okay, no, like your big 3 is healthy, and this is still going the wrong way, and it's still like they're in the playoffs. There's things to be bright about. So like I would not just crash out and completely throw away this team. There's been teams we're throwing away for. Titans fans, I know you feel me on that.
Yeah.
But this is not the team throw it away on. And like, man, like don't rob yourself of the joy of having someone like John Morant on your team.
No.
Because like we just watched Dallas have to give up a guy that was homegrown for them and something that should never happen in sports. And like that's one of the joys of being a small market team. Is you get guys like John Morant and you get to see them grow and become superstars in this league. And you can say like that's our guy and you get to stick by. It's not the LA or we trade for every star anytime something's going wrong. We just get bailed out by Adam Silver. Did I say that? But in Memphis, you have your guys and you get to grow with them and you get them. And that's another part of sports fandom that should not be taken for granted. It's why you're going to have 4 jerseys in the rosters of a team that never made it further than the West Finals.
Yeah.
So,
God, I do not want Tiardra. God, that's not good. Is that right?
Tiardra.
Right.
I would imagine. Yeah.
Anyway, I wish
we said it wrong. It's Daniel's fault.
I wish these fake Grizzlies fans would get out of these comments with the fake outrage. One, I agree on one level. This is a safe place. I'm cool with the crash outs. We're cool with that. The only thing we don't want, and the only reason I brought this up is one, I appreciate this comment. The one thing I do not want is going at each other. Okay. So if somebody's going to crash out, which a guy like Astronomo normally does, I've not seen Astronomo here tonight, or Astronomo might have changed his.
Oh, no, he's all in here. He's all over the place. You're just not seeing it.
I'm not seeing it. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
he's
all up in here.
All right. So Astronomo is very famous for doing this, but I'm cool with allowing people to crash out. Let's just not get combative and go at each other. If they crash out, they crash out. Let's just not go at each other. We're on the same side. We all have very strong opinions. We just don't need to go at each other. But yes,
we're all family. Family fight sometimes.
Look, see, there we go. There's Astronomo. I have not seen it. I guess there's been so much going on tonight. But yes, Astronomo likes to crash.
You've been all up in here.
All right. I do have something for you and King Meeks. It's a little surprise. All right. I do not have any graphics, but I have a question. This is on what you're talking about, Nate.
Oh,
the Grizzlies won a quarter tonight. What quarter did they win?
Third. No. Hold on. I hate this because I actually like it. Yeah, third quarter. It was the third quarter. It's final answer.
Is that your final answer?
It's my final answer. It's the third quarter.
Lawrence, that's a second. Art says the third. I'm trying to give people a chance to guess, but yes, it was a third quarter win, 27-20, which was what cut the entire thing down. What was the highest scoring quarter for the Grizzlies?
They put up 35 in one of the quarters. I don't know if it was the second or the fourth. I think it was the second. They put up 35.
Look at you. Second quarter, 35 points.
Ooh.
Highest scoring player on the Grizzlies tonight. Did you look at the box score yet?
Yeah, I looked at it in the fourth quarter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who's the highest scorer? Who's the highest scorer on the team?
Jetty. I'm just kidding. I believe it was Jaren.
I believe in Joe Hendry. It was Jaren Jackson Jr., 26 points. Look at you, man. Look at you.
It helps that I don't look until the fourth quarter, and I look at everything in the fourth quarter in detail. So it was fresh on my mind.
Amanda comes in. Little Jaren love. Yep. So Jaren scores the highest tonight. And the best plus minus, I believe you already know this. Best plus minus.
Desmond Bane.
All right. So
second highest. I think it was John Conchar.
It was John Conchar. Sure it was -6 because Ja was a -7. So anyway, so in the end of the day, the Grizzlies lose again, right, by 19 points. That sucks. But the Grizzlies now have a home game, a game 3. I assume the line is already out. Nate, do you have any?
I think I know what it was. I
haven't looked yet.
I think I did see it earlier. Do you want to give it a little look-see or a guess?
I'll take a guess. It's at home. Dude, I think if it's 13.5 or less, it would be the dumbest decision ever. But I think they have to give third game chance 13.5.
Boy, you about to be laying some points. It is Thunder 8.5.
No way.
8.5.
Do we need a new house?
I saw that, and I was like, man, 9-point favorites or dogs at home. And I was like, that's it. But I think maybe Vegas saw what I saw, which was the Grizzlies look like a much better team after the first quarter. So,
that is
Grizz money line, baby.
So the Grizzlies play Thursday. I will be on the Coaching Company show. That will be a play of mine is 8.5. I will play it all the way up to 10.5. So if you want to go ahead and get it on it early, what is today? Tuesday? Yeah. So yeah, a little early. I promise you, I will be on the Thunder 8.5. But if you're interested, if you want, you can probably get the Thunder on a money line and then pair it with something stupid like I don't know what's his face, SGA to get 15 points. They're probably closer to better money. So anyway, if you want to do something stupid like that, because if they're going to win, he's going to score. So what did SGA score tonight? 27 points. Yeah. So you could probably say SGA 20 points, Thunder money line, call it a day. Really good.
Come on, let the forum be popping. Show up, show out for these guys in game 3. I would love to be able to come back and go to that game. That would be awesome.
All right, final predictions on the game. What's your thoughts?
Grizzlies by 20. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. What do I do here? What do I want to do? Do I go with my heart? Do I bet with my heart? Have in the past. That's why I lose money. I think the Grizz make it a game. It's so hard for me to say the Grizzlies have a chance of winning after watching those first 2 games, but I think they come out with a little bit of pride, and I think that they come out and the forum is rocking. That's on us.
Okay.
Forum be rocking. And I think that they make it a game. I'll say it is single digits either way.
Wow. Okay.
I'll say it's single digits either way.
Wow.
I will say it is under. Grizz points. I'll take Grizz points in that. I don't have to actually put any money on it.
Right.
But Grizz points on that. I don't know, man. I just refuse to sit there and say they're going to lose no matter what I've been watching. I just can't bring myself to do it. Just eternal optimist. That's what I'm known for.
Well, I will say that I am on with Lightning and DJ here, and Thunder by 10. I think it's a double digits. I think it's 12 points, a 12-point win by the Thunder. I think it's in all honesty, I think it would be like a 17, 18-point win, in my opinion. I think they're going to run away with it because I think that the Grizzlies give up. But hold on. Nate, do you have another suggestion on how this game goes on Thursday?
I tried to tell you guys this last time. What you didn't understand is, again, I got a C in marketing. So I saw all through all of this when Ja was getting put on promo left, promo right, promo middle. And so you're sitting there saying, well, Nate, the Grizzlies just got destroyed in 2 games. Ja Morant can't possibly win this series. The script isn't in for Ja to win. It just got wrecked. What you aren't taking into account is all of the cash outs people are doing on FanDuel right now, those bets they put on the Grizzlies to win the series after they watched us last time. And he said, hey, this guy got a C in marketing. I'm going to listen to him. I'm putting all my money on Grizz to win this series. And again, I didn't tell you to do it in 6. I said, if you're crazy, do it in 6. I wouldn't. I said, do it in 7. And so here's what's going to happen. All these people laid this money on the Grizzlies, and now they're cashing out. FanDuel is smart. They were willing to give them their money back. So now they're cashing out. They're taking a loss. FanDuel's taking a win. And what's going to happen is all those people that have been laying money on Oklahoma City, they didn't get a C in marketing. They don't know what's coming. Grizz win 2. Thunder win. Grizz take game 6 or back to OKC for a do or die game. If you love money, that's why you came to this show. I got a C in marketing. Go make your bets.
You heard him. Grizz win Thursday night right here. Grizz 901. Oh, welcome back, Nate.
I really hope they can pull out one of these games.
Yeah. Well, listen, we don't usually pull out around here in Memphis, but we'll figure out a way to do that in game 3. We'll figure out a way to get that done and figure it all out. But Nate, great show tonight. Hopefully we do not get a fire lineman in the building. We don't want that on Thursday. Let's keep that away from the entire show. But we'll be back here Thursday night. It is a late start. I believe it's an 8:30 Central start, Nate.
Yep, it is.
8:30 on TNT. So listen, crazier things have happened. The eternal optimist. Grizzlies win Thursday night. Shock the world, Craig. And we get one more show for you all. Get to hang out with you one more time. So we'll see. We're down to 2 more losses and we go home. So we'll see Thursday night what happens with the Grizzlies, if they can figure out a way to do it. If not, then we'll move on to Saturday. And then at that point, it could be a closeout game at the Forum, which would be disgusting. Any closeout game at the Forum is always bad. So that's all we got. Thank you all for hanging out with us. It's been a beautiful time. Thank you for all the super chats. As always, they help the show grow. And do us a favor. Before you leave, be a friend, tell a friend about Grizz 901. Let them know that this is the best post-game show in all the land. And hit the like button as you go out. That way you can let your friends know what you're watching. So, but that's all we have. We'll see you all Thursday night. Be nice and tell your friends.